it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise, My Asexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual, and I share my asexual life journey in order to help you in yours. So subscribe and hit the bell icon. So we need to redefine, I should say, what turns us on. So being turned on is something people associate with sex, but you can be turned on in other ways, and that's what today's discussion is about. First of all, if you didn't know who I am Sandra Bellamy, author of the best-selling book Asexual Perspectives, 47 Asexual Stories, available on Amazon. Let's get stuck into today's episode. So yes, like I said, traditionally being turned on is something you would associate with having sex, wanting sex, liking sex if people do certain things. And it would usually be associated with kissing, touching, making out, physical body contact. But we need to redefine what turns us on so that it doesn't have to be those type of things that make us excited and wanting to see someone or kiss someone even. So I'm a hyperromantic asexual. I'm heteromantic, so I'm only attracted to guys, which is the opposite gender to me. I'm female, cis female, and I get turned on asexually by things that have nothing to do with bodily parts and sex. So people get turned on by genitalia. I'm not interested in genitalia. And I have no interest in seeing dick pics or having anything to do with the male genitals. I don't mind sitting on guy's lap in between his legs if I'm his girlfriend. I'm okay with that closeness through clothes, but I'm not interested in guys on dating apps, for example, on dating sites that I'm on, showing their bare naked chest with all their muscles, which really doesn't turn me on at all, and basically showing close-ups of their penis in their trousers. To me, it's just like, ugh. You're like, can they not think of anything better to do? Is that all they think they're worth? Do you know what I mean? I actually think it just lowers the guy's worth so much. And I am not interested in genitalia. I'm not interested in a guy who's big, bulky, and muscly. That's not the type of guy I'm interested in. I like a kind, caring, sensitive guy who is the boy next door type, if you like. He's got baby soft skin and who's a really nice person, who's honest and trustworthy. And I'm not into muscly macho guys. A lot of them for me are not very cuddly. They're not something that would turn me on. What turns me on is if a guy talks to me about website design, for example. That really turns me on. Like, it asexually turns me on. What do I mean by that? It means that it makes me want to kiss him more because I am excited for the thing he's talking about. And when he's excited for what he's talking about, then I get more excited and I want to kiss him more. And I like business, I love entrepreneurship. And so if a guy's talking to me about business stuff, it turns me on asexually, as in I'm really excited. I like the feeling of entrepreneurship, business. I kind of like the vibration of that, usually being on a higher level, personal development, self-development type level. And again, that turns me on. It makes me more interested in him, more intrigued to spend time with him, more pleasure in spending time with him. So I believe traditionally girls don't really like guys talking about their business or their work as such. But for me, entrepreneurship is something that makes me personally come alive. So when a guy is talking to me about entrepreneurship and he's really interested in it, he's really active in what he does and he really enjoys what he does, that turns me on more because I'm like, wow, I really want to kiss you now, hold your hand, snog you more, because you're talking about something that you are enthusiastic about, that you are interested and passionate about, and so am I. So the things that turn me on asexually is when the guy's passionate about something that I'm passionate about also, and as passionate as in excited, as in invigorated, as in thrilled for, as in he really enjoys it. When you've got two people who are passionate about a similar or same sort of thing, and you're both talking about it and deeply engaged in the conversation, you're smiling and laughing and feeling good about yourself, that really turns me on. That makes me feel like I want to spend more time with that guy. I want to kiss him and cuddle him and hold his hand if I'm aesthetically attracted to him. If I'm not aesthetically attracted to him, it wouldn't work. But but you know what I mean? It makes it more interesting. But I can become more aesthetically attracted to a guy purely through his personality and chatting to him, and an emotional connection. An emotional connection is something you gain by finding out more about the person. So if I'm in a nightclub, if I don't want to get attached to a guy, I just don't speak to him that much. So I can kiss him and not get too attached to him because I'm not really engaging in any emotional connection. I'm not talking to him about himself. I don't really know much about him. And this is how you can stop yourself from getting so attached to people, is you don't talk to them very much, which obviously you have to do the opposite of that if you want to be able to form a emotional connection with someone. You need to be able to chat to them, get to know them, know their background, their history, what their feelings are, their emotions, their thoughts, and to understand them. Once you start understanding someone on a deep emotional level and you emotionally connect, the feelings you have for each other will just be much more stronger, much more attached, much more deeper. You'll have a deeper level of care about that person if that person really genuinely cares about you. If they don't genuinely care about you, they're just passing the time, right? And we've got to be very careful on dating apps and dating sites as asexuals that we don't get time wasters, especially those who are just playing along with us because they're passing the time, when really they can't live without sex. And if you're a sex repulsed asexual like me, they could be using you, right? There's a lot of time wasters on dating sites. But there are genuine people in the world. There are people who really want true love. I am on my dating journey and my love journey, if you like, because I want to find a serious, committed relationship with a guy who will add value to my life like I will his, not make it worse or not make me upset and in pain. Obviously, no relationship is perfect. Relationship takes work, right? But you want to be having a person who's going to enhance your life and really be into you and committed to you and really enjoy talking about the same or similar types of things to you to at least a degree. You don't have to be identical or like the same things entirely. I don't like sport. There's quite a lot of guys that like sport, so that's gonna be one thing we don't have in common probably. But you know, when we're redefining what turns us on, we should be thinking of what gives us pleasure, us joy, what makes us feel connected to another person, what makes us feel emotionally connected to a other person. Turning on is usually something in the sexual realm for being sexually stimulated, but turning on can be mind stimulation. It can be emotional stimulation. It doesn't have to be sexual stimulation. And I think with mind stimulation and emotional stimulation, if you get to that level and degree of deepness in a relationship, it can actually give you much more fulfillment. Because let's face it, if you do have sex, what, it lasts 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If you're a hypersexual, maybe a couple of hours. I know one hypersexual, 2 or 3 hours their sex sessions last for. But I'm not a hypersexual. I'm a hyperkisser, but not a hypersexual. So usually sex doesn't last very long, right? But if you've got a deep emotional connection, if you're turned on by someone talking, for example, talking about specific subjects and topics, they could be talking about a subject or topic for like an hour. And if you're really excited and elated for that, it can make you turned on. It can make you feel more attracted to them if you already have attraction for them. It can make you feel more excited and elated and make you want to be closer to that person because you relate to them more. You feel their passion, you feel their pleasure, you feel their excitement, and you want a part of that. And so, this is how we need to redefine what turns us on to being something that's not necessarily sexual, but can be mind stimulation, emotional stimulation. And that in turn can make us want to get physically more close to that person. That might just be cuddling them, it might just be kissing them, it might just be spending more time in their company. But for me personally, if I'm romantically attracted to a guy, I'm aesthetically attracted to a guy, and he is sat holding my hand, so I have the physical connection there, and he is talking to me about website design, he's looking into my eyes and he's smiling and he's so excited because it's like his passion. that's going to really turn me on and make me want to kiss him more. That's going to be like, oh, come here, I just want to snog you now, because you're talking about something that you're passionate about, you're enthusiastic about, and you're sharing it with me. Some people could get turned on by the fact that people love pets, and it's like, if there's a guy who's into dogs, for example, or into cats, then that could turn someone on. And this is why in a lot of dating sites, people put cats or dogs in their photograph. It's supposed to have enhance their appeal, enhance their attractiveness, because you automatically are meant to associate that with a good guy. So, oh, if it's got a cute, fluffy dog, it must mean the guy's cute and fluffy. If the dog, he's really kind to his dog, it means he should be kind and loving to me, which doesn't always work out that way, because some of them have borrowed dogs. They've borrowed their neighbors' dogs, their friends' dogs. They don't even own any dogs. They're doing it to lure women in. So you have to be very careful of this. But we need to think carefully about the words turning on, and we need to turn the tables and turn the tides where this is concerned, and to redefine what we get turned on by, what lights us up, what fills our cup up, what makes us feel good about ourselves, what we actually truly want from a relationship, not just in the bedroom, but in other aspects of our life at other times. Like, if I've got a guy and he's like on his lunch break and he's messaged me and said, "Oh, I'm really missing you right now. Like, I hope you're having a good day. My day was blah, blah, blah. I'm on my lunch break, so not got much time, but I'm thinking about you." The fact that he is emotionally connecting with me because he's staying thinking about me and he's caring about me and he's taking time out of his lunch break to do that, that increases the bond between me and him. It makes me feel turned on, as in I want to talk to him, as it's turning my happiness on, it's turning my joy on, it's turning my emotions on for him. And it's making me want to spend more time with him, to continue being with him, because he appreciates me, because he values me in his life, because I know he's thinking about me. And it makes me feel like the relationship is worth it. When someone feels undervalued, underappreciated, not cared for, just an accessory to the guy's life, not a focus and not a priority, then it becomes like distorted the relationship, the connection, disconnected, and it feels pretty awful, to be honest. So we need to remember in our lives that we all get turned on by different things, and we all get mesmerized, excited, and feeling good by different things. And we want to be around someone that makes us feel good the majority of the time. No one's perfect. People do get depressed and upset and miserable. But, even in those sad times, you could still get turned on, in the sense that if someone's going through an upset time, right, you're not going to get turned on in the sense that you're going to be upset. It's not the time to be sexually turned on. It's not the time to be thinking of your own pleasure in that way. But if you've got someone who's expressing their emotions openly and honestly to you, it could turn you on, as in make you feel closer to that person, make you feel you want to cuddle them more and kiss them more, make you feel like you want to be with them more, because they've shared their most vulnerable parts with you. And that's turned you on to wanting to spend more time with them, to getting to know them better, to being there for them, to being closer to them. So it's imperative that we rethink what being turned on means, and that it doesn't have to be a sexual thing. It can just be a beautiful, loving thing, where that person is turning you on to them more, to their caringness, to their kindness, to their openness, to their vulnerability, to their understanding of you and you them. It works two ways. If you feel that they're not understanding you and they're not spending time with you, all these things turn you off, right? They turn me off. So you need to work out, when you're on dating sites or thinking about relationship, like, what actually does turn you on? What turns you on that's not sexual, right? And what turns you off? Someone who turns me off is someone who's arrogant, who's selfish in a bad way. I don't mean doing things for himself. I mean actually genuinely selfish. Some guy who never says no or can't give a proper apology. A guy turns me off if he's looking at loads of women and he's got loads of women options. Like they say in dating, it's good for people to have lots of options. In theory, I understand that because, like you need to make sure that you pick and select the right person. But if a guy's just going around on purpose with tons of women, I'm not interested. It turns me off. If a guy doesn't know that I'm for him or that he really likes me, then it just turns me off. I think, why waste each other's time? Why? Of course, there's scenarios where you don't really know each other and you're getting to know each other. But if a guy's got tons of women, I'm not interested. It just turns me off. I'm thinking, well, if you're just interested in a ton of women, I ain't interested in competing. To me, there is no competition. And if you feel that there is a competition, then I'm out of here, right? I'm just not interested. And it turns me off when a guy says, "Oh, you're just like other women." That's a real turn off for me. It's like, why would I want to be like other women? Or I like you as much as I like this woman. It's like, well, I'm not interested in being compared to another woman. Or you liking me as much as you like another woman. Go and be with the other woman then. I want to be the best person and the priority person in that person's life. I want to be the chosen one for them, right? Because a committed monogamous relationship involves you prioritizing that person. It doesn't mean to say you don't do other things like see your friends and your family and have a life of your own, because that's really important and healthy for you. But you have to have a level and degree of prioritization and wanting to be with a specific person if you're having a monogamous relationship. And therefore, you need to put some effort and pride and commitment into that one person rather than multiple people on the go at once. Do you see what I'm saying? And if some guy has the same connection with other women as he does with me, then it really turns me off as well. Like, I want him to have a unique and special connection with me, even if he does feel connected in some way to other people. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm the same connection to him as multiple other women, that personally turns me off because I want to be unique in that way. If it's like a comparison again to other women, I don't want to be competing with other women or compared to other women. I want the guy to say, "Hey, I love you. I want to be with you because there is no one else like you in the world." Do you know what I mean? Which there isn't, but I want him to acknowledge that and that to be the difference between me and other women, because you've got to have a degree of security in a relationship, right? If you can't have any security in a relationship with a guy that's all over the place, doesn't know what the F he wants, doesn't know that it's you that he wants, and is unsure of himself, unsure of his future, can't actually get to be with you, actually physically even near you if he lives in another country. And all these things, they just turn me off. A guy who's flaky turns me off. A guy who's inconsistent turns me off. A guy who cannot deliver on his word, on his promise, turns me off. And so we really need to be defining what turns us on and turns us off, so that we know that when we're looking for the right person for us, the things that turn us off are just going to be like the person that's no good for us. Like, if a guy can't be emotionally intelligent, for example, that turns me off. I need a guy who's emotionally intelligent. I need a sensitive guy. I'm not into macho guys. They just turn me off. There's guys on dating sites as well. They have this big fish in their hand. I'm like, this just turns me off. I just don't like seeing it. Like, there's nothing good about a guy holding a big fish. It's like, just like, what are you trying to prove? You caught a fish, a big fish. Big deal. I'd rather be with a guy who's got his own business and is helping people in the world and serving people than someone who's just caught a big fish. There's nothing going for him. Like, how is that going to help me in my life with him? It's not. And if a guy doesn't want to work as a team player, again, that turns me off. He's not a team player in a relationship. He doesn't want teamwork. He just wants to be solo. Like, I love my single life and I care about my single life a lot. And unless I've got the right guy to be a good match to me, then I don't want to give up that single life. But if you're going to get into a serious committed relationship, it takes teamwork, energy, and effort. It takes a lot of communication. And so if a guy's not communicating with me or not communicating with me that much, there's a low level of communication, that really turns me off. Something that turns me on if a guy has a lot of communication with me, if he's really caring, really thoughtful, clearly I'm on his mind throughout the day and he's shown that through his communication, even if he's really busy, that turns me on. So I think we definitely need to redefine this thing about being turned on. And we need to think long and hard before we get into a dating scenario or relationship scenario. Like, what are the things that turn us on? What are the things that make us joy elated and turn us on to wanting to spend more time with that person, be in that person's company more, be around them more, actually build something proper and real in terms of relationship with that person? And what are the things that turn us off, that make us feel disassociated from them, disconnected from them, not helpful to us, not caring towards us, not empathetic towards us, and just makes us feel like this is not the right person. This is just gonna like make me feel like I'm emotionally neglected, right? Because emotional neglection's really, something you have to understand. Like, some people think in a relationship you just have the physical needs and you have the practical needs. They don't take into account the fact that a person, including a woman, has to feel emotionally safe. She needs to feel emotionally safe and protected and secure. And if she doesn't feel that, especially if she's got an anxious attachment style, there's no stability in there, because she'll be always seeking reassurance that had you made her feel stable and secure in the first place, she wouldn't have to need that much, because she'd be stable and secure and she wouldn't even need to question that. You know, I have a best friend and it's a very secure attachment overall. I'm not saying it's 100% perfect. Nothing's 100% perfect, but you know, I have an anxious attachment, so occasionally I'll get like a little bit of like, "Ooh, like what happened there? What's going on?" But other than that, usually, I'm pretty secure in that attachment with that best friend, and I know that this person, I kind of know his routine each week, or if he's doing something different. I don't know everything he's doing every day, but I don't need to know that, because I'm secure in the fact that I know enough about what his life is like and that he includes me enough in it, that I don't need to worry about that, that I know he's always there for me when I really need him. I know that he confides in me about stuff. I know that he spends time with me when he wants to and feels good about spending time with me and me him. I know that he's a good guy overall. I know that he's always working to improve himself in his life. And I know he cares deeply about me, from the way he interacts with me, talks to me, keeps me in the loop about his life and stuff like that. Right? So you could say, I mean, if that's a friendship, it's not a relationship. So I don't usually use the words turned on in a friendship, because it's not the type of thing I would think about. But it could be things that keep you switched on in a friendship, because they're things that make you feel good about that friendship. So you're still switched on to it. You still want to be in that friendship. You're still actively interested in it, because it's still providing you with some nutrients, some degree of happiness, some degree of feeling good and having a better life for that person being in your life, because they just improve it and enhance it, even though you could be on your own. So I think this is a lot to think about, thinking about being switched on to a friend more. What switches you on to wanting to stay friends with someone? What switches you on to wanting to stay in a relationship with someone? Or what turns you on to wanting to stay in a relationship with someone? What switches you on to wanting to stay friends with someone, be friends with someone, interact with someone? I think we really need to be thinking about these things that are often not thought about, because people just associate being turned on with sexual things. It blurs the reality of the fact that we can be switched on or turned on by a lot of different things, and that it doesn't have to be sexual at all. Some people don't understand how asexual relationships work. If you're not having sex, like, how does a relationship work? Well, asexuals love for a deep emotional connection. And when you flick that emotional switch on and you maintain and sustain it over a long period of time, the more that you're very much deeply connected to that person, the more you can love them deeply, the more you can care about them deeply, the more you can foster and nourish a beautiful relationship together. If you're both on a similar or same page, if you're both having that degree of care and respect and friendship love for each other, right? So I want you to give this some thought over the next week or so. I want you to think like, what turns you on in a relationship? What switches you on in a friendship? What turns you off in a relationship? What switches you off in a friendship? Write these things down because it's good to have self-awareness so that when you're looking for a new relationship or a new friendship, you know exactly the type of things that turn you off and switch you off and turn you on and switch you on. Therefore, you can be getting healthier and better relationships for you that make you feel good and improve your life instead of draining the life out of it, sucking the life out of it, and people not really being who they seem, and they're pulling the wool from underneath your feet and not being truthful or honest and not really being a good friend or partner to you, or a relationship other to you. Anyway, I hope you found this video useful, helpful, insightful. It is a very interesting topic that I don't think anyone's particularly covering at the moment. So I'd love to know your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Pop them down below. Switch me on as a asexual community member here, or an ally if you're not asexual. Switch me on to what you want to talk about, and let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon and give this video a thumbs up. Love to know your feedback on this video. Take care. See you soon. Lots of love. Bye. Stay ace.